Hello. Good morning. I sing a lot of words, don't I? That doesn't change. I've tried to stop doing it in the past and it doesn't really work either. Thank you for the comments and stuff about last night's Q&A. As I said, that one was a little bit shorter. We can definitely build on it as more of you are getting into the kitchen, undertaking some of the recipes and questions and feedback that you have for me as we go along. So today we're doing the chocolate granola on page 12 of the book, and the chia jam and the chia pudding as well. So to get started, we're going to start with the chia jam. So I've got the berries in here. We're going to get this on because it needs a little bit of heat and we want to maximize the use of time. I'm going to do 2 glasses of water. One of the things that I come back to when I talk about fruit is that there is so much natural sweetness within it, right? When we can flesh that out, and I talk about this when we talk about making date pastes and things as well, is that flavor is so intense that you can really draw it out with a whole lot of water. Then you can add a squeeze of citrus or some essential oils, set it with some chia jam, and you've got a really flavorful, kind of soft set jelly. So I'm gonna get that on the heat. I might add a little bit of cinnamon as well, just while it cooks down. I went for blueberries this time. You can use frozen. The Creative Organics, I think it's Creative Organics from Woolies or Coles is totally fine as well. Probably the most affordable one, unless you're buying bulk or catering sizes. But depending on how your budget goes, I know that there are good kilo packs for $8 or $9 that you can pick up at a supermarket too. So I'm just going to pop that on over a medium heat. And we'll see how we go for time today. Me personally, when I've got time to let it sit on a slower heat, I will do that and let it cook for like 30 to 40 minutes. If I'm strapped for time, I will bring it to the boil the heck out of it. Just bring it up, turn it off, let it cool, add the chia and be done. So we'll see how we go for time today. That's happy as. It's just going to bubble away there. We're going to get on now to the chocolate granola. This is on page 14. We've got a couple of different variations that I've given you as suggestions. Basically, getting 5 cups worth of deliciousness in a bowl, adding some coconut oil if you want the extra good fats in it, a little bit of maple if you like it sweet, add all the good bits in, mix it all up, and then it's good to go. If you do want to make it crunchy, whisk an egg white, pop it through, bake it on a flat cookie tray, 180 for 10 to 12 minutes. It will harden on cooling, and then you'll have a crunchy take-home snack. We're going to do the quicker version here today, the raw one, but definitely the crunchy one is a delicious way to go as well. Now, I'm going to start off with almonds. I think almonds are always a beautiful way to go. I'm going to take a couple of handfuls of those. And these are such rough estimates as to what you need. It really is what your budget allows and what your flavor type is. So if you are budget conscious, you may decide, and you're not gluten-free, you may decide to use oats to be able to bulk out your granola. Beautiful way to go, great source of fiber, lots of beta-glucans in there, great for the heart, really nourishing for our insides if you're gluten-free. If you're not gluten-free, it's going to cause you a whole lot of pain. If you do want to keep it GF and you're also on a budget, opting to use seeds over nuts is a pretty great way to go. We're going to use a combination today, and that goes for nut meals for your cakes and things as well. If you use almond, sesame and pumpkin seed meal rather than just almond meal, not only have you increased the nutrient profile of what you've made, you have also decreased your food costs. And when you're baking with almond meal in a cake, you're not going to know the difference effectively, right? So you're being able to combat those food costs in a really easy way. Going back to diet variety and nutrient density, which is something we spoke about briefly last night, this is what I think I love about the granola. You're getting lots of different ingredients. If you're having a couple of tablespoons of it each day, really great way to go. So we've got almonds hanging in there. Going to do a handful of pepitas. For those of you that have been to a workshop with me, you will know that my gorgeous staff used to call me Señorita Pepita because I wanted to put toasted pepitas on everything. I think a toasted pepita, when they're heated in a dry pan and they pop a little bit, when you catch one of those when you're eating a salad, it's like the stuff that really grounded happiness is made from. I'm going to put in a couple of handfuls of sunflower seeds as well. Because we're going chocolate today, and can you see the beautiful colours that we've got going on? This is like my wardrobe palette, kind of goes with my kitchen. It's totally, totally important. Chocolate today, so I'm using the beautiful Loving Cocoa cacao nibs. These guys are an awesome company that work with local women in the countries of origin to be able to support them in building their own micro businesses, and they make the most delicious single origin chocolates as well. As you know, I love story that has a food. If I can make better purchasing decisions like that as I replace ingredients in my repertoire, I'm always going to take that option. So right now, this smells like chocolatey goodness. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla powder. Holy yum. You can. This is a great way. So vanilla and lemon and salt are a great way to be able to get flavor without needing sweetness. If you're adding that with a little bit of cacao powder, you're really going to be starting to fool your taste buds into thinking they're getting something sweet when they're not. So it's a beautiful way to go. I'm going to add the cacao in there as well. Now I'm going to keep this one fruit-free, but I'm going to talk you through the fruits that I do use and have a quick chat about that with you. This smells really yummy. So, ingredient chats that we need to talk about right now. The cacao that we add, I'm using the Loving Earth cacao that you can pick up. Yes, it is different to cocoa. Yes, it does have a stimulating effect. If you do have a sensitive nervous system, you do not want to be having more than a tablespoon, well, probably a teaspoon each day. So cacao is one of those things that is beautifully grounding, gives you really nice grounded energy. But like coffee, if you have too much, you'll go a little bit crazy. You'll feel your nervous system really kick in. So whilst that magnesium in it does chill everything out, helps with cravings. That chocolate fudge recipe that I use all the time for that 3:30itis, whenever I'm teaching or facilitating chats around that time, perfect combination. Great fats, good a little bit of stimulation from the cacao. We also have the little bit of relaxation from the magnesium as well. Magnesium and coconut oil work really well to help with cravings. So you start to have that really functional food thing start to happen. If you ate 10 of them, you might go the other way and still be awake at night. So be mindful of that. If you're already not a coffee drinker, then keep that in mind. If you do drink your coffee but you keep it in the morning because you don't know how you're going to feel towards the end of the day, I know for me, I can have my double shot in the morning, can't have much else other. I can have a little bit of chocolate at 3:30 and that won't keep me up, but I can't sort of mung out on it and eat a lot of it. That's not going to work for my system. So we've got that in there. I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon in there as well, which is going to be beautiful. So we've got cinnamon, we've got vanilla, we've got salt. When it comes to vanilla, I love to use a really good quality one. I use the Loving Earth one. There are plenty of great ones on the market. Do use a powder or an extract or a paste where you can. A lot of the vanilla essences are actually just tonka beans and alcohol. It's not what we want to go for when we're talking about real food, and the flavour is going to be completely different as well. But there are beautiful Balinese ones starting to show up on the market. If you're not going to do the Loving Earth one, the Queen's Organic Paste that you can get from Woolies and Coles is a really awesome way to go as well. So this is all powdered and delicious. Now it needs a little bit of liquid to get things moving. We're going to come back to fruit. I'm going to put a tablespoon of maple in here. And work that through, I am also, bear with me, I'm also going to use olive oil rather than a coconut oil, just to show you the versatility that you can have with it when it comes to chocolate. By all means, you can use coconut oil as well, just showing you variations to the recipe. Now, the other thing I'm going to add to this, once again in lieu of dried fruit, is going to be a couple of drops. Now, this is a wild orange oil. There are lots of different brands around at the moment. I like to use a food grade one. I'll often use doTERRA or Young Living. 28 as well, have some really beautiful culinary ranges. They're a beautiful local company from the Sunshine Coast. Chocolate orange happiness is being created right here, right now. Can you see that amazingness? Holy heck. And just to prove to you how delicious it is, I had to do that. That is super, super good. So I hope you can see the ease of, obviously if you're not explaining it the whole way through, you can get your chia on, get this all wrapped up, mixed up, stored in any of your jars like this or like this. Lots of options that you've got there. And that will store in the fridge. Once again, if you whisk an egg white through it and bake it on a tray, it's going to last even longer. This one is beautiful as well, using the whole food chocolate recipe that you have in the book. If you've got a silicone muffin tray, fill the bottom with the whole food chocolate recipe, like a tablespoon in the bottom of each of it. Pop these on top and chuck them in the freezer, and it's kind of like a superfood Florentine, those chunky, nutty, yummy biscuits. Really beautiful way to go. Before I forget about it, I want to talk about fruit that I tend to use. We've spoken about blueberries and extending that fruit with water to be able to capture more of the flavour. I do the same thing with dried dates, medjool dates, when I'm cooking with them. They are intense. When I am making raw cakes and raw treats, I always cook them down or rehydrate them and then blend them with the water that they've been soaking in for that reason. You can get so many more of the chocolate and caramel notes coming out of it by doing it that way. For me, that is super important. Once again, you can get away with using less and you've got more flavour. Less sugar, more flavour, amazing way to go, in my opinion. When it comes to, everyone tends to go to dates for being their #1 dried fruit source. I am a big fan of the fig. The fig is higher in fibre, it's higher in potassium and higher in magnesium. It is like the ultimate feminine fruit. This with chocolate is like your fast-acting PMS antidepressant. Not even kidding. Sandwich some chocolate in between there and eat it. Sandwich some granola between there and eat it as well. The beauty of these as well makes them my favourite use, well, my favourite sort of go-to dried fruit. Other than that, I will use some cranberries or sour cherries, white mulberries. Once again, they are fad foods, so I tend to have my favourites that I come back to. But of course, if I'm catering a beautiful gig and I want to keep it all light and bright, white mulberries with cashews and pepitas and beautiful hemp seeds and everything to make a granola looks beautiful. It's visual as well. So I do mix it up by all means, but my go-to of the ones that turn up in my cupboard and in my food, definitely figs, rate pretty highly. I can smell this blueberry ready to go. It is becoming jam in no time at all. Before we cool that down, we're going to make a really, really quick Chia pudding. These big ones, I think these big jars are like $3 from Kmart. I will put in half a can of coconut cream. Actually, not for this one. I do a whole can into this one. I fill the rest up with water, effectively making coconut milk. . 1 add in some vanilla. I'm not going to add any maple into it because I know that I don't like it sweet. By all means, you can go for it. Mix that together. I never sit down to a bowl of chia pudding, so I'm happy to do a 1-to-1 ratio with my coconut cream to water within the mix, okay? When, if you are a big fan of chia and you want to do more, by all means using your coconut milks mixed with water, or your almond and coconut cocoa quench blends and things like that, rice milk if you like it, a really nice way to go for a lighter kind of flavor. I have used coconut water before, not my personal preference, but if it's your jam, by all means give it a crack. This ratio is what I know to work, and how I tend to do it. So then I add 3/4 of a cup of chia seeds and give that a good stir through. I will leave this on the bench whilst I'm cleaning up to just continue mixing them up, and then I pop it in the fridge and I forget about it. Simple, huh? See how pretty it is spinning around? You can put the lid on it and give it a shake. I am happier just to give it a little bit of love as I'm cleaning everything else up and getting it good to go. Let me put this board over here because this will be hot, hot, hot. Oh, yum. Can I show you this without screwing it up? I might have to bring you for a walk to have a look in here. Let me flip this around. Holy yum. So blueberries and water. You can add lime, orange juice, lemon juice to this. A couple of drops of essential oil would be beautiful as well. Thyme. Some thyme leaves in there would be absolutely stunning. I love thyme and raspberry, and I love blueberry with rosemary. For me, that's a super yummy way to go. Sorry for the little trip that you just had to have around my kitchen with me. So I like to keep this cooling in here for a little bit longer. And then I add in my chia. Continue to let it set in the container. And then I'll scoop it into a jar as I need. Once again, making up a couple of kilos of this is beautiful to be able to gift onto others, and they'll love you for it. So how do I use this berry chia jam? I will use it with peanut butter to make peanut butter cups with the whole food chocolate. I use it as an accompaniment to the banana and ice cream that I like, the frozen banana froyo kind of blended deliciousness that is a favorite of mine. This is obviously a part of that breakfast bar that I'll do when I'm catering with granola and chia jam, so people can grab all of those bits and pop them on top. It is also the layer in my poached orange and rhubarb cakes. It is so much to me. It is my favorite friend as a teaspoon. It came around when I had the cafe back in 2012, where I couldn't handle putting jam out to the people, and I wanted to have an alternative. So this was probably a little bit before the paleo people were doing their thing, and I just found that this was a beautiful way to be able to use flavour, reduce the amount of sugar, and make those subtle changes to people's health without them even realising it. So that's the berry chia jam done. I'm going to let that cool there. Of course, if you are transporting it when it's hot, it's not as bad as sugar jam. Getting that stuck on you hurts like all heck, but you can transport. I just keep bringing more of these jars out. Being able to fill all of these up, beautiful way to go. Just pop them in the fridge straight away so that they can sort of come into their own. So give my little chia pudding a stir. So today we've gone through chia jam, and my approaches when it comes to fruit, both fresh and dried fruit. We've gone through a chocolate version of the granola. We kept that fruit free. By all means, getting to that sort of 5-cup capacity so you're not redoing things all the time. Really awesome way to go. If you feel inclined, please chuck a whisked egg white through it. bake it at 180 degrees and see how you go. Then we got on to the chia pudding. Chia pudding is beautiful as a snack. As I kind of alluded to last night, I will have it for breakfast occasionally. For me, it works better as a snack because I want to get my bonus veg by having greens and eggs in the morning. Once again, completely up to you as to what's going to work best. So I hope that has given you a good idea as to how I start to kind of multitask it when I go. And I'll speak about this when I do the smoothie one, when I do the smoothie video. This whole setup between the chia pudding, the chia jam, the granola, my smoothies and massaging my kale, I have down to about a 20-minute pocket of time. That's snacks and breakfasts well on their way. I'll be boiling eggs at the same time as I do the jam to have that extra protein on board. So if you can start to think of these next little progressions, I know a lot of you are shift workers, do not have the time available for a whole stack of prep, have got little people under feet that don't allow it to be an option anyway. Or this is a decision that you've made to take for your health, and there isn't the support of your family or housemates around you next. So it's often extra workload for you at the time. So once again, to be able to give you these tips and these clues, to be able to pull it together and get it done for you in that small amount of time, I hope will be really beneficial for you. So I hope that gave you another good overview of all the deliciousness that has been the book Nourish and Delight, and I really look forward to walking you through the smoothies and getting into a bit of discussion around smoothies and juices, caffeine and our body and energy and cravings, and how to make smoothies a meal in our next little walkthrough. Any questions, pop them in the comments below, reach out, I'm more than happy to have a chat. All right, bye guys.